In this video, I'm going to create a design for my Instagram and I'm going to take you on the journey with me. Let's go. So before we get started, if you're looking for more tips, tricks, hacks, tutorials, and other design inspiration videos, then make sure you click that subscribe button. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell to get notified every time that I post a new video. This is episode 9 of the Photoshop Therapy series. And in this series, I create a design for my Instagram page and I don't speed it up. I don't do any editing to the process. You just get to watch me work it out as I go along. So this is episode 9 and the theme for this week is Cultivate Kindness. So let's get started. Okay, so cultivate kindness, let's go. So I'm gonna get my text on the board and then we'll go from there. So I'm gonna get cultivate. I already kind of like this orange color that was here from my previous design, but maybe we'll come back to that. I kind of like it though. Okay, cultivate kindness. We're gonna keep that center like that. And we're just gonna start to play with some ideas. Now cultivate, you instantly think of like farming, growing stuff. So I want to try and find a font that kind of like matches that style, kind of rustic maybe. We're just going to try some ideas. So cultivate here. Let's start playing around with some fonts. One of the fonts I used in a recent design I really liked, and I'll just see if I can find it. It was called, well, I like this one, which is called Manofa. This is pretty cool, but I'm going to hold on to that one and see if there's another one that I used. The other one I used was, let's see if I can find it. It was kind of like a sans serif font, but had a little bit of curvature to it, which I don't know if that makes it a serif font. Not quite sure. We'll see if we can find it. Not a big deal if we can't. Kind of like that font too, but it's probably a little too rounded for my liking. So we're going to keep going. Soap could be cool as well. We'll keep tabs on that. Work Sans, I think, no, it wasn't that one. Omnes, is it this one? No, that's one I just looked at. Okay, well, we're just going to start playing around with some ideas, and I won't look for that specific font. We'll just work with something in this pile of fonts. So I think Manofa's cool. I think we should try having a play around with this font and seeing what happens. Now I know people don't like it when I stretch fonts, but it's opened up a whole new world to me once I stopped caring about the stretching of fonts. Like now I just do what I think feels right, instead of like worrying about following the rules. And it's kind of helped me think a little bit more outside the box. So if you're hesitant about stretching fonts, I would just try it. The worst that can happen is that you offend someone who's a font diehard, but that's okay. Maybe it was this one, Can It? Was it Can It? I don't think so. But I do quite like the way that, funnily enough, I like the way that cult looks. But I'm not going to choose the word cult to base this whole thing on. Yeah, I like how big, I like the idea of like big font. And I kind of like the idea of like stacking the fonts like this, like cultivate and then kindness is like a second stack. Kind and then this. But I don't know if this is going to look too weird and whether it will even be legible. Let's try it, bring those that way. Maybe let's add the dash to this side. I feel like this is more readable. I'm not sure why, but so I kind of like this. I kind of like this idea. So let's keep working with this. This is different. What was that font that I found earlier that I liked and I was going to come back to? It was called... Oh, that's going to bug me now. It was called Work Sans, that was it. I liked this one. But that needs to be separated a bit more. Those two. And then maybe like I need to do something like that. Then I think it's not. The beauty of this, or like kind of the cool thing about this style, was the fact it was so big. I think once I shrink it, it loses its power a bit. I did download like some photo, like some images here, so I wonder if we could work with something like this, which is already looking pretty cool. So I think there's something definitely there to work with. I like the idea of going with like a black font to start. And maybe now what we do is bring the dash up here. And let's try League as a font. League Gothic is a nice font. It's much taller. Yeah, it's too tall. What other fonts have I been using? That was the one I was using before. Oh no, Work Sans is that one. Canit's cool. I like Anton too. Let's see what New Hass looks like in black. See, that's pretty cool. I don't know if it's tall enough though. I'm going to stick with what we had, which was Work Sans, and I'm going to try and create something using that. So let's get rid of the flower for a second. Let's make sure this is centered, and I think let's move. I mean, is it edgy getting rid of those dashes, those hyphens? Is that too far? I don't like the way that's... Ah, there you go. See, I think it could be cool, but I think it could be hard to read, and I do value making things easier to read if possible. I like to balance the whole form over function. So I think this could work, this idea here. And now I just need to find a way to bring this whole thing together. So Cultivate Kindness. I like these flowers that we have in the mix. Let's try overlaying those in a color, which orange works well, as you'd expect. And then maybe if I like stick that. Okay, so I like what we've got. It's looking not too bad. Let's try bringing the background in and just starting to work with that, seeing how that looks. I think that's going to start to help direct our kind of color choices. So see, like that's too dark. I don't like that. I think that would work better as, what does white look like? White, that's cool. Like that kind of pale yellow. I like that. Oh, what if I tried, oh, this could be something a little different. So let's bring that in as 2 lines, like so. And now we're just gonna like boost the size up massively. So it's like back to the size it was before. Make sure that that's got enough distance between those fonts, those lines, like so. Keep going, keep going. Okay, now we're going to space it. Boom. Okay, now the next step is to make this font small enough for this to work. So I think that should go. Oh, what have I done? I don't know, but I'm liking it. Let's get that back in the mix. This is confusing me now. So I'm clicked on that. There you go. Okay, so now I've got to bring back that. Dash thing back, and then I've got to space this section out here. Like that. Okay. So that's a good start. I think we just need to reduce this as best as we can, spacing wise, and I wonder if that requires us to do a little bit of no, I think that's good. And now we stretch this. So we're going to grab that and just stretch it down like so. And then maybe now we'll just bring the spacing in slightly. Okay, cool. So now that we've done that, I think there's more opportunities for these flowers to kind of like almost grow through the text. So maybe if we made that black, might be too much going on with the background. So in that case, well, maybe I would just go back to making it orange again like before. And then making this black. But I don't think that's going to show very well now. Will that show by? Let's try a different image. Let's try this one. Okay, something like this. And then now let's try a different font. Different color font. Maybe with the flower again, trying different color there. Yeah, it's difficult to make this work with a like busy background. So maybe let's try something like this. That's better. And then, so the font's put me off. The font looks like, no offense to any Canva people, but I think because of the spacing, the weird spacing that's going on, the font gives me like made in Canva vibes. And I really don't mean that as like an offensive thing. It's just, I think when it's like, I just know that Canva has less choices in terms of like font, like text formatting. And so when I see it, it kind of just, something seems off. Like I couldn't quite get it how I wanted it to. So, and that's basically my fault. That's not a Canva problem. So please don't hate me for saying that. Canva's still a great piece of software, and I highly recommend anyone to use it. Okay, I like this. This is cool. Maybe I'll just try getting rid of it. See, kindness works, but cultivate could... So what if I did this then? What if I kept kindness like this? And then we went with like cultivate, but something different. And like, what if we made that curvy over the top? Let's try that. Let's try and do something a bit different. Why not? When in Rome, cultivate, that's what I was spelling. Cultivate, and we'll make that 400. Minimize that a little bit. Definitely going to change the font, that's for sure. Let's work with New Hass. This one definitely works on like a curved plane a bit better than some of the thicker fonts. So, and maybe we just go New Hass with this as well. Maybe this has been the secret that's been trying to fix. This has been the key to making this design work. Is going back to the trusted New Hass. Okay, I definitely need to bring the thickness in. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Didn't I download like another flower somewhere? Was it that? Oh, I don't know if I like that. No. Sure, I swore I downloaded like a rose or something. Let's see. It's a mess. No, I can go and find it though. I'll let you guys into a little hack while we're doing this. So I use Pixabay to download these kind of like flower illustrations, and I think I did a video on this before. But what you can do is you go up to the top and then search like vector graphics, and it shows more of these like outline ones. And so these are great to use in like designs and stuff. They give that kind of like vintage design feel. So it's been a real lifesaver for me to just find these kind of things. So I'll use a couple of flowers that I just found, and we'll try and see what happens when I put those in. Is this now trying to be something that it wasn't meant to be in the first place? Am I now making this completely different? Let's try and make this work. I mean, this could actually be pretty cool if we get this right. So now it's going to be about making this look right. So I think let's scrap the circle and let's go arch style and use the curvature of the arch. I think that's going to be a better way to go here. So we'll create an arch shape. And I made a reel on this recently on how to do this, but you can kind of get a good idea of it here. So make that arch shape, make that a little bit smaller just to work with for now. Now we're going to hit T on the keyboard and we're going to go round this arch shape. So cultivate like that, and then we're going to switch to New Hass, go bold. Now we're going to bring the sizing way in to like, let's go 300. I want it to kind of curve round, but not too much. So let's try 400. Okay, hopefully this is going to start to get this more like the right kind of shape. Cool. I like where this is going, but we're definitely not there yet. So we're going to do that. I just wonder whether we need to bring that back. Something wants to happen here, something wants to work. I just haven't. And this is the thing, when I do designs, like most of my time is just spent seeing whether it looks right or not actually creating stuff, but just like playing around with ideas until it starts to feel about right. And this is another one of those cases where it's like, I want that bottom text to be big. I'm sure someone's watching right now thinking, I know exactly what you need to do, but it's just not hit me quite this moment in time. So do we thicken that up a bit? See, I like that. I think there's some shapes there that really work well. If I can make this stretch like that, maybe just make that a little bit bigger. Then just probably drop that down a thickness note. Did I have another new Hass here? One in between. That's probably the best one. What I'll do is I'll make Cultivate a little thicker so they look kind of equivalent. No, I won't. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. It's just about how we make this flower work now in the mix of everything. So let's try a different flower. I mean, what if we went crazy like that and tried to find a way to make that work? It's just too messy. Let's try. I prefer that flower for sure. Maybe just a little bit more distance between these two guys here. That. And maybe we just make this a little smaller. How do I do that without affecting the text? Is this it? There you go. Will that work? So I'm going to select that shape again. Oh, that's how you do it. Or just reduce the size of it. Cool. Okay. I mean, I have done a few arch designs before, so maybe let's see what this would look like surrounded in an arch. Maybe that will help bring this whole thing together. Do that. Go 0 and 0, like so. So now we've got to really sort the rest of this out. So we go to kindness, bring that down. That can probably be bigger, to be honest. Like, shrink that down slightly. Then it's got to be much thinner. I think that's got to be like that. And then the flower guy here. Do that. And then Cultivate, we're going to bring that in and center that up. That's saying it's centered, that's definitely not. Doesn't look like it anyway. And then we're going to make that one step smaller. Okay, so now let's try centering all of these together. It's a good sign when it doesn't budge. So that Cultivate's got to be thinner again. I wish there was an in-between. now what I need to do is work out how to like fill in these little spaces here. So maybe let's just try dots and see how that looks. And then if it doesn't work, then we move on to like stars, maybe. Just trying out some ideas. Okay, that's cool, but I think the dots are like too thick for the rest of the design, and maybe that's how we get by that, is we make it like hollow and push those right to the edge like so, and we'll center those like that. Now do I like the fact is this looks like it's centered aligned, but it looks like it's left aligned. Let's try hyphenation off. Yeah, I prefer that. I'm probably going to need to thicken up that rectangle as well. Make that like 30, more like 20. What's the circle? Is there 15? So let's make it all 15. There we go. Okay, so now we've got those two set. What we're going to do is get rid of that and that. We're going to get rid of that as well and that. So these should all be together now. I'm going to take that rectangle out of that group. Now we're going to center those together. Doesn't look quite right on the eye. I think it needs to be more like that. Okay, so there's our basis. Here's our start. The next thing I'm going to do is duplicate that, and then we're going to fill that section and make it white. So we'll go like that. Cool. Now we're going to create a smart object out of that, and we're going to go to filter gallery. And we're just going to see what happens when we apply the stamp filter. We turn up the smoothness. I think what I'm going to do for this one is leave this guy out of it and just focus on the text for now. And we're going to bring him back in a second. So now what we're going to do is go back to here, filter, and now we can really like play around with the text without worrying about the rest of the image. Okay, so that's cool. So we'll do that, and then we'll do filter gallery. Let's bring Mr. Flower Guy back first. And then we'll put him here. And then we'll go to filter gallery on this guy. Actually, let's bring those two back together now. Now we go back to filter gallery again. And then we'll kind of make that a little less intense. Just a slight bit less intense again. Oh, there you go. That's better. Something like that. Okay. Convert to smart objects. Now, filter, gallery. We're gonna put a spatter effect on this guy. It's all a little rough, but not too rough. Something like that. Cool. Then the next step is to add another one, and I'll probably do torn edges filter, which has become kind of a favourite of mine. Adds that kind of like aesthetic, rustic kind of aesthetic. Now we're going to get rid of the white, like that. So now we've got this like cool design here. Change the size of. And now it's time to start playing with colours and seeing what kind of colour we can get out of this. And now the cool thing is we have the opportunity to bring back some of these previous images because we've kind of created more of a simple design. And I think this one could work really well if we choose the right color. And I do like that orange, but I just think it's gonna be it's not very legible. Is that the right word? Legible? Should I just quickly Google it, just to see? Legible. Clear enough to read, there you go. Legible. Kind of like that blue, that's cool. Let's see how we make that work together. So I'm going to just add some of these overlays and effects now and just try and get ourselves into the ballpark of how this is going to look, and then we'll start playing around with colors again. Okay, so probably just reduce that slightly to like maybe 60%. And then now I've got to make the decision whether I make this brighter or darker. Sometimes you bring the image down in brightness and it helps the text stand out, and sometimes you make it brighter and it does the same thing. It looks like in this case brighter is the way forward. Yellow is working pretty well. That's the closest to having it all very legible, but also the blue's pretty cool. I think the blue's too dark though. I think the yellow is going to be the one, provided we choose the right yellow. Okay. So do we make that brighter or less bright? So that's good. Make that 65. Then what I'm going to do is just boost the vibrance up, just because I feel like there's more blue to come out of that sky. Like that. Okay. Cool. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm going to try some different photos just to see what our other options are. Too busy. I could play around with that, but I just get the impression it's going to be too busy. I like it, I just don't think it's for this design. Too many effects. No, I think we're on to a winner with the first one. Yeah, I like that. And so there we have it, Photoshop Therapy episode 9. This was Cultivate Kindness, and I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Let me know what you think about this design in the comments below, and I'll be reading through those and I'll be listening to your feedback. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure you leave a like. It really does go a long way to helping this channel, and consider subscribing for plenty more videos like this to come. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.